here at Curated, where you will always find a lovely rainbow of Lamborghini Diablos. Here we've got 3 of the SC30 variety. The last one there with the lovely roof scoops, designating it as a Yoda, but always gorgeous. You'll see the European version has the blue Alcantara interior, and of course the SV. Much nicer, as most cars at Curated tend to be, than the one that lives in my garage. But mine began life exactly like this, as a Rosso Imola car, and then it was bad Rosso Imola, and then Verde Scandal vinyl, and now Netflix orange paint. And so I continue to be very, very happy with that car. But these are always coming and going. Are these all sold, or are these available?
So a couple of cars are sold, a couple are available. This line of Diablos is sold. This next Diablo is available. So this is one of the favorite cars we've had here. This one is a Diablo SV that was truly loved, USA specification car, where you can tell by the rectangular marker lights and the leather interior as well. This car displays around 6,000 kilometers, so very, very, very low mileage example of a USA Diablo SV. So this particular car, this is actually John's personal car as well. And the SC30 behind you is the only Diablo ever finished in this fantastic color of Verde Metallizzato. It was designed specifically for the Paris Auto Show with an amazing little plaque on it that says Salon de Paris. I think it displays around 4,000 miles on it currently. So a really special car of the lineup of SC30s. And as Ed mentioned before, the SC30 with the Yoda package on the car, one of the true cars that was equipped with this from the factory.
And not a single one of them has rhinestones on the air vents.
This
so
is true.
Make of that what you will. And a Vector W8 twin turbo. We just had an amazing story about recovering the Yakuza Vector. This one was stolen at one point. They all have amazing stories, Vectors. There's a bunch coming up for auction soon in Monterey, which I think can really, progress or at least establish what the real Vector market is. An M1, more fun stuff, but to be honest, the current highlight of the showroom is right behind us here. Not a Diablo SV, but a Mercy SV, and not an E-Gear Mercy SV. One of 5 well-known, 7 believed to exist manual Lamborghini Murcielago LP670 SVs. The only one in brown, the only one with factory comfort seats done in Alcantara with Curated, perforated leather steering wheel, brown dash. I do believe the wheels were painted gold after delivery.
Yes.
I don't believe that is correct. Small wing car, as elegant as it is insane, and as valuable as it could possibly be. Pretty fair to say that this is the most valuable non-Mura SVJ Lamborghini, at least by my approximation. It's worth millions and millions of dollars, and well beyond my reach, despite many inappropriately low offers that I have lofted towards the European continent. So you'll notice from the side marker lights and the car's general reputation that it is not a US car. It came in very recently, and it is going to be potentially available for sale, but there's a variety of beliefs in the most appropriate path to having a US license plate on the car. But there is nothing like a Mercy. There's certainly nothing like a Mercy SV, and a manual one is, to me, the ultimate car ever built by humanity. And here one is. Now later this week, we are going to be at the Concours Club, where we're going to do some side-to-side or head-to-head comparisons with several modern supercars, talking about the next generation of collectors and the next generation of collectible cars. And we're going to be driving this Ford GT and that 458 Speciale against some other amazing cars, and we'll have some more videos to come to you there. Now, this is something you might not normally expect to see in the Curated showroom, but it is an E-Gear LP640. Obviously, we all love the manual cars. They are all fantastic. This is a car that actually came in on trade on a manual LP640, but with only 425 LP640 Roadsters, regardless of transmission, built for the world, I believe a lot in the value future of these cars and in just how amazing they are at their value. So this is an exceptionally low mile car, owned by a very much an enthusiast owner, and I'm sure it'll make whoever ends up with the car extremely happy. The LFA behind it, certainly one of the great up-and-coming cars. Not my favorite car, but I appreciate what it stands for and the audience that it has. Now that is a recognizable car. The 2 cars behind me are not. They are codes, which means that they are rebodied out of Japan, I believe. An Aventador and a 599. Very distinctive, very strange, and very, very cool. Certainly something you'll never see pull up anywhere else.
So they were actually designed by Mr. Ken Okiyama. He was the designer of the Ferrari Enzo, and he drew inspiration, I believe, from the Stratos for this particular example. The other one in front of it, there is 5 produced in this kind of open-top Barchetta style, if you will. So 2 very special cars, as Ed mentioned, Aventador based and 599 based.
As always, the great thing about Curated is that you can have your SV in virtually any variety, but this is extra special, an ultra-rare Arancio Miura SV.
So this is a car that we've had for a client, and one of his dreams was always to have a car with the tan cloth interior. If you look over here, we just had the interior retrimmed, matching the original specifications of the car, correcting a few things that were not super correct on the car, matching the original texture and sourcing the original material. So really bringing this car up to the level that it should be, being an SV.
Excellent. And behind me is one that just showed up out of the Triple F collection. This was one of the press cars for the LP670, only 44 US cars, and this is the one that was in Car and Driver's lightning lap test. Now, the other Lamborghini that was in that test was actually a 2010 LP570 Superleggera. And we received that car at Lamborghini Atlanta when I worked there, along with a gearbox. And it didn't need a gearbox, but one can only assume it was a slightly different gearbox. And based on that logic, it would be very fair to expect that this car is a good bit faster than the other LP670s that were delivered to the US. I don't think anybody's ever lined it up against another one. That's a rare opportunity. But the Triple F guys had the same problem that I do. I don't really fit in a racing seat Mercy SV. And so it was the car to go out of my garage at that time. Mine went through sports car collection in Denver, then to Houston Crosta in Las Vegas, and now it is with an owner in Utah. I'm very happy with my high mile manual cars, but this is an extra special car in Giallo Orion, ultra high spec, high wing, everything you'd ever want, still quite low miles, and available now at Curated.
Other thing with the Triple F collection, they did throw a Bowden House exhaust on it, which really does wake the cars up. I think how much the factory exhaust weigh, it was a heavy piece.
More than you.
Yeah, exactly.
That's
so taking the exhaust off those cars, even though we're big fans of the originality, they do produce a lot of heat. They do take a lot of weight off over the rear axle. So that is kind of an acceptable upgrade, if you will, among enthusiasts, if you will.
Absolutely. And easy to reverse
Yes.
if your tastes ever change.
Yep.
Behind it are 2 of the most significant Lamborghinis here in the showroom, the Gallardo Concept S and the Diablo GT2 race car. These are cars that came out of the museum in Santa Agata, this to foreshadow the up-and-coming convertible version of the Gallardo Spider that we've all come to know and love, in a gorgeous balloon white color, the special division of the cockpit, and certainly an amazing car to have around. Is it sold?
It is sold. This car is sold. John actually brought up a great point that if you look at modern cars today, you've got famously the Ferrari SP1 and SP2, where they really shocked the world as having these open tops cars, where now they're available for street use, where we weren't ready for this car, I would say, as kind of people, as enthusiasts, didn't understand it. And then now finally it's seeing its place of, wow, Lamborghini was ahead of their time doing with this car.
Absolutely. And of course, the legendary Diablo race car, never officially campaigned widely, but purpose-built to really dominate, which it never got the chance to do, and certainly would have, as we never have to question ever again. The first open headlight car, the first to use the GT style front hood, lots of special things about the car, and of course it's orange, which makes it the best, unless you like black cars.
Yeah.
Crazy person you are. Back to the front of the showroom, we're going to find perhaps the most unexpectedly unique car that's currently in the Curated showroom. It is something you might recognize from the critically acclaimed film Triple X State of the Union, Daisy, the modern interpretation of the Shelby Cobra. It takes some acrobatics to get around the Curated showroom, so care is appreciated, but it doesn't get much more special or much cooler than this. It is something that's based loosely on a Ford GT, uses a V10 engine, and Stephen can tell you an awful lot more than I can.
So one of my favorite cars we've had the pleasure of dealing with, and this is the Shelby Cobra Concept, codenamed Project Daisy. Affectionately, when Ford was launching their first secret project, the Ford GT, that was codenamed Project Petunia. So when that was leaked, this is where the nickname Daisy came from, as another kind of flower codename, so that way it would throw the press off. But this was Carroll Shelby's last project that he worked on. So it's a front mid-mounted V10 engine, 6-speed transaxle gearbox, weighs 3,000 pounds curb weight with around 645 horsepower, with a bespoke V10 engine making 645 horse. It's truly, truly one signature away from a production car with amazing, great details, where they've taken a lot of modern technology and elements, as well as that classic design features that we've all come to love on the Cobra, where you see the exposed hood scoop with the side skirts, if you will, kind of pushing out, emulating a little bit of the side pipes, what they will, but also no door handles where they are fully operational from the inside of the car, just like the classic car. But great design language and just really a fantastic car to drive.
Absolutely. There's always a lot of great stuff to find here at Curated. If you find yourself in Miami, be sure to come by. Say hey to John and the amazing team, including Stephen. Thank you for the time.
Sure. Pleasure. Thank you.
Absolutely.